I'm appointing you to take charge of all matters concerning the divorce settlement, David. I signed the documents, and right then I got a phone call from the police station. Nathan, your new household registration book and ID card are ready. When I went to the station to pick up the paperwork, the young man behind the counter paused for a second before he spoke. Excuse me, are you Mr. Nathan? Everyone in Riverside knows that Victoria Hayes has a husband she loves very much named Julian. I smiled and shook my head, denying it. The Julian from that world is gone. I am Nathan now. While I was waiting for an eye checkup at the hospital, the television in the room was showing an interview with Victoria. She was usually very calm and collected, but her voice cracked when she spoke about me. Julian went blind trying to save me in a fire, she said. And now he can never go back to the stage he loves. I've decided to devote the rest of my life to protecting and cherishing him with all my heart. Seeing him struggle with daily life when he could have been gliding on his toes on stage, it just tears me apart. I overheard a nurse nearby talking enviously. Victoria married Julian Warren right after college, even though her family was completely against it. After they got married, she showed off their love so much it seemed brighter than the stars. I froze for a moment, tightening my grip on the bench. Everyone in Riverside knew that the wealthy heiress saw her husband as more important than her own life. When my parents divorced in high school, my stepmother immediately kicked me out. I collapsed in the snow, and it was Victoria who found me, saved me, and took me in. She fed me, gave me clothes, paid for my schooling, and even supported my dream of learning ballet. I lost my eyesight saving her during that fire. Victoria never left my side. She married me right after I graduated, going against her whole family. One cold December, she knelt all night in the snow, wearing only a thin dress, just to get her family, the Hayes family, to accept me. They finally gave in, and she ended up in a hospital bed with a fever, clutching that engagement ring tightly. Victoria knew that because of my broken family background, I was always too scared to truly commit to a relationship. After all, I had seen my own father bring his mistress home, leaving my mother heartbroken. On our wedding day, Victoria knelt on one knee, her face sincere. Julian, I promise to spend my entire life loving and cherishing you. There will never be betrayal or lies between us, and I will be faithful to you forever. Victoria kept her word, giving me endless care and attention over 5 years of marriage. But the day my vision came back, I caught her and my stepbrother Marcus wrapped up together at home. That's when I understood, Marcus visiting was just an excuse for him and my wife to continue their affair, and every single time she lovingly offered to pick up my medicine, it was just so she could spend more time alone with Marcus. I kept my sight recovery a complete secret, pretending not to see the two of them boldly kissing right in front of me with blurry vision. I broke a glass and cut my hand on the shards. Victoria quickly rushed over, worried, and grabbed my hand. At that moment, the pain inside me was far worse than the bleeding cut. I didn't expose their cheating. I kept pretending I was blind while secretly preparing to one day leave Victoria. After I left the hospital, I found a new email. Mr. Nathan, we've seen your performance videos. Even though you've been off the stage for a while, we're confident we can make the stage shine together with you. We're waiting for you in Paris. I had quietly applied for an internship with a ballet company in France, and now they were welcoming me. Before I lost my sight, the company had reached out to me when I was a shining star on stage. Back then, I never considered leaving Victoria, so I refused without hesitation. But now, it was Victoria who forced this decision on me. Thanks. I'll arrive in Paris in a week. See you then. I took the ring off my finger, feeling free from all burdens. No more arguments, drama, or tearful apologies for me. I want to disappear from Victoria's world, for her to feel completely powerless, even with all her influence in Riverside. I want her to spend the rest of her life feeling regret. I put on my sunglasses and tucked the ring into my bag. 7 days from now, there will be no more Julian in this world. As soon as I got home, Victoria rushed to me anxiously. Julian, where were you? Why didn't you answer your phone? She frowned, taking the bag from my hands. I noticed she was wearing different clothes than before, and they smelled like a laundry detergent that wasn't ours. I forced a smile and handed her the fake diagnostic sheet. I went for my eye checkup. The doctor said things aren't looking too great. Victoria helped me to the couch, carefully putting a warm cup of water in my hand. "How could you just run out on your own? Do you know how worried I was?" Marcus emerged from our bedroom, still wearing my pajamas. His unbuttoned collar revealed several hickeys. His tempting gaze was fixed on Victoria beside me. I pretended not to notice, just identifying the voice with my ears. "When did Marcus get here?" But inside, I squeezed the cup even tighter, a sharp pain piercing my heart at this sight. "Mom asked me to bring some supplements for you. They're good for your eyes. You need to recover your sight soon." Marcus's gentle manner and bright smile made his words feel like a blade stabbing straight into my chest. "The dance association in Riverside just gave me the lead dancer spot, which was all yours." I stayed silent, deep in thought. I knew Marcus's talent, he could never deserve the lead dancer spot. His growing opportunities over the past year made me suspect Victoria might be helping him behind the scenes. "All right, I've got some work to do at the company. I'll go now." Victoria put vitamins beside me and thoughtfully prepared some fruit. "Julian, you rest at home. I'll come back early to keep you company." Then she gave my stepbrother a knowing glance. He understood immediately. "The dance troupe also has practice today, so I'm heading out as well." I warmly waved them off. Watching Marcus wrap her in his arms, I waited a moment, then looked down from the balcony to where she'd parked her car. The two hadn't walked far before they were passionately kissing, and soon Marcus cradled Victoria and laid her on the car's back seat, leaning in. After I quickly took a few photos and sent them to David, they still hadn't closed the car door, and the vehicle was softly swaying. Fighting to control my breathing, the dull ache in my heart twisted into a sharp knife, leaving me breathless. Victoria and I had known each other for 10 years, married for 5. I had no doubt she would be the one I'd share my life with. But the woman who vowed to love me forever let her promises disappear in just 5 short years. I wiped away my tears and turned toward Victoria's study. I punched in the code to her safe like it was second nature. Inside were a few contracts. All the top ballet resources, including the lead role promised to me by the Dance Association, were now handed over to Marcus as a gift from Victoria. Maybe she thought since I went blind, I'd never be on stage again. But the contract at the bottom, it was signed 2 years ago. Back then, I hadn't lost my sight. I was still taking the ballet stage by storm. I lost the lead role for the one show I cared about, Leader, just a day before the performance, and they replaced me with Marcus. The director had said Marcus was better suited for the part. I looked at my body covered in bruises from rehearsals and cried through the night, finally sitting in the audience and applauding my brother. Watching my despair, Victoria's eyes had gone red, and her voice was husky, filled with care. "Julian, it'll be okay. There'll be another chance." Her facade was so convincing it had me fooled. It turns out the one who stabbed me in the back was the person I trusted and relied on the most, my partner. It seems like their affair had begun a long time ago. I thought I would fall apart, crying hysterically. But seeing it with my own eyes made me realize the silence of despair was the mark of a truly broken heart. "Julian, today marks our 5th anniversary." Victoria came over with flowers, her right hand holding luxury shopping bags. She took out a watch and put it on me. "This watch suits you. I customized it just in time for our anniversary." I felt the watch on my wrist and smiled at her. The signed divorce papers were set aside in a beautiful gift box, which I handed to her. "Victoria, this is my gift to you." Her face lit up with excitement, and she eagerly moved to untie the ribbon. "Open it in a week. It's a surprise." I stopped her, my expression calm. "All right, I'll listen to you, Julian." She placed the box in the display cabinet, then took my hand. "I've made reservations. We're celebrating there tonight. We spent every anniversary at Rose Restaurant." Victoria said the spot was perfect, you could see all of Riverside's night view from the window. She even planned a magnificent fireworks display at 8 p.m. Though I couldn't see it, the sound helped me picture the momentary splendor against the black sky. On our way, Victoria set me in the passenger seat and went to the trunk to get a blanket. I noticed a thin sheet of paper tucked into the door pocket, Victoria's pregnancy test results. She was pregnant with Marcus's child. Since losing my sight, we rarely got intimate. Whenever she kissed my eyes, I'd awkwardly pull away. She wasn't upset, just held me, breathing heavily and placing tender kisses on my forehead. Julian, don't worry. I'm here for you. What I didn't provide, she gave to Marcus. My breath caught as I put the paper back. Her phone was connected to the car's Bluetooth, and I turned to see her standing at the back texting. I opened her chat, it was Marcus's. I'm coming with you. Don't be silly. It's Julian's and my anniversary. Stay home. I'll come over after dinner. I was there last time, too. Right at the next table. He won't find out. No wonder last anniversary she kept finding reasons to leave the table. After a pause, she agreed. Fine, we'll go first. You take a cab. I laughed quietly as I shut off the screen. That blanket took her 10 minutes, not that she was looking for it, but where her heart lingered. Dinner was tasteless. Victoria soothed me with words while stealing glances at Marcus at the next table. 8 o'clock came, and the fireworks began. Marcus edged towards the window, but I turned to the night, keeping a tight grip, refusing to reveal anything. Fireworks like bright stars lit up the darkness with radiant colors. My heart clenched painfully numb. I watched my name once spelled in light against the sky, now erased. Out of the corner of my eye, Marcus threw himself into Victoria's arms. They embraced and kissed, unaware of my blurred vision in the chaos. Memories of our first anniversary flooded back. Victoria hugged me from behind in this very spot, her love spilling from her eyes. She'd said, "Every year I'll light the most spectacular fireworks just for you. I'll show the world, Julian, that you're my one true love." A decade of moments seemed like a dream. I lived in an illusion of love created by Victoria. Now awake, it's time for me to leave. My new ID and passport are ready, and tomorrow I'll fly to Paris. The following morning, I calmly sat and made breakfast, preparing Victoria's portion too. "Julian, why are you up so early?" Victoria came out, seeing the food ready. She hesitated only a moment, then hurried to me, holding my hand. There were small cuts from unfamiliarity with knives and burns from splattered oil. "You can't even see. Why cook? Lisa will be here soon. Doesn't this hurt?" She gently held my hand, a few tears falling onto it. With another glance, her eyes were already red. Her acting was so perfect that if I hadn't seen for myself, I'd never believe the woman who claimed to love me more than anything was unfaithful. "I'm fine. Just thought I'd cook. It's been a while." I'd already told Lisa to come by later. By then, I'd be out of Riverside. I tried to pull my hand away, but she took it to the living room, applying ointment. "My husband's hands are too beautiful to mark." Looking at Victoria's focused head, I almost blurted out and asked her why. Luckily, I held back. While she went to fetch bandages, I saw a message from Marcus on her phone, "Heaven Hotel, room 1012. When Victoria returned, I acted indifferent. "Victoria, your phone went off earlier." I think I might have brushed it while checking. She caught sight of Marcus's bold, explicit photo. She quickly picked up her phone, pausing for a moment, then relaxed as staring at my blank eyes seemed to reassure her. I kept a calm face, though my hands trembled. The hospital messaged. "I'll go get your new meds. You wait at home. I'll be back soon." Victoria gently caressed my hair. Quite an effort on their part, meeting at a hotel so early to maintain the facade. "Victoria, goodbye." My unusual words puzzled her a bit, but she smiled. "Julian, wait for me to come back." The door clicked shut, and I breathed. Wait for her? Never again. I quickly packed my bags, gathered everything related to me at home, and contacted the junkyard to pick them up. Sitting in the taxi heading to the airport, I received a message from Marcus. I knew she was pregnant with his kid. It was only natural for him not to want to just be a sidekick anymore. Marcus sent tons of intimate photos and chat logs of the two of them, including Victoria's pregnancy test results. I swiped through the messy pictures one by one. My chest felt a dull ache, but it didn't hurt as much anymore, until I saw the chat logs from a month after I went blind. Victoria couldn't wait to transfer my resources to Marcus. On the first day they broke the taboo, the woman I loved deeply, my wife, was involved with my stepbrother shortly after I lost my sight to save her. Remember to open the gift when you get home. After sending this last message, I took out my SIM card and threw it in the trash. As the flight announcement blared, I took one last look at the sign for Riverside. From now on, Julian no longer exists in this world. I'm Nathan. Victoria looked down at the message from Julian, sent a few responses urging him to sleep early and saying she'd return tomorrow. There was no response from his side, so she guessed he had fallen asleep. Since losing his sight, Julian's moods were often sullen, and his health wasn't great, but his routine was steady. Upon getting the test results, Victoria was both shocked and delighted. Delighted because she'd always wanted a child. Shocked because she never expected it to be Marcus's. They had a few intimate encounters under Marcus's charming attempts, but her child had to be Julian's. To her, Marcus was just a fling. Her husband would always be her husband. Victoria stood by the window, not exactly happy. What if Julian found out? Her brow suddenly twitched as she thought of Julian's gentle, obedient demeanor. No, he wouldn't find out. Victoria, what do you think about the kid? Marcus was uneasy with her reaction, thinking she'd be more excited. That blind brother of his was not only in poor health but also resisted intimacy. Marcus knew this, so he seduced Victoria more, hoping one day the child would let him climb up in status. But it was clear she wasn't interested in that. Her face clouded, her voice cold. You've been worn out recently. Take a break and skip dancing for now. As for the child, we'll talk about it later. She was already figuring out an excuse, claiming adoption. After all, Julian couldn't see or know she was pregnant. Now I'm heading home. Let's not meet for a while. Why? Marcus felt aggrieved, biting his lip, about to cry. I need to take care of Julian too. Haven't I spent enough time with you already? Victoria dodged. I'll visit you in a few days. Be good. Marcus dared not stop her, having lots of grievances against that brother. When is that sickly brother going to get a divorce? He scrolled through their chat with no replies from Julian. The car sped home. Victoria looked at the dark balcony, thinking Julian was already asleep. Lisa, the maid, welcomed her with a light. Victoria handed over her coat, casually asking, "Is Julian asleep yet?" Lisa was surprised and stammering. "No, he messaged me this morning to come back later tonight. When I arrived, no one was home. I thought you both had other plans." With every word, Victoria's eyes darkened. Did he say anything else? Nothing more. Lisa's face turned pale, fearing she might upset the woman before her. "Okay, you can go." Victoria dialed Julian's number, clutching the phone, her expression turning darker. She waited a few seconds but only got the automated voicemail of a shut-off phone. As she hurriedly went upstairs, she called her assistant, Charlotte. "Check all of Julian's call records now. Look into his documents. See if there are any immigration records." Victoria's voice was colder than ever, but a fierce aura surrounded her. There weren't many places Julian could go. After all, he couldn't see. Where could he run to? With that thought, an impossible notion slowly surfaced in her mind. Also, check the hospital diagnostics. I want all the results of his recent rechecks. Hurry up. Recently, Julian had been going to his rechecks alone. She only saw the reports he brought back. She always thought he couldn't see, indulging in her intimacy with Marcus. But what if he could see again? A headache throbbed in Victoria's head as she forcefully pushed open the bedroom door. Inside was pitch black. The bed was neat and clean. Shaking, she turned on the light and found their framed photo missing from the nightstand. Her anxiety grew, rushing to check all the rooms one by one. Julian's clothes were gone. His toiletries were gone. Even their wedding photo in the living room was gone. She stormed into the study, finding the spot for her safe slightly moved. Numbly, she entered Julian's birthday, and sure enough, the contracts were all rearranged. For a moment, she felt her blood freeze. Julian might know everything. Victoria opened the chat with Julian, seeing a message about a gift. Of course, the anniversary gift. She broke the locked display cabinet. Even as her hand bled, she didn't feel the pain. She opened the delicately packaged gift box. Inside was a single piece of paper she didn't dare look at, but she had to. The glaring words, divorce agreement, were right there. On the last page, he'd already signed his name. Victoria stared at his neat handwriting, feeling a sharp pain in her heart, suddenly remembering he hadn't been wearing his wedding ring for days now. A sticky note was attached with David's number, saying, "This is my lawyer's number. He'll handle the divorce matters with you." Just then, Charlotte's call came back. Marcus sent some photos and chat logs to Mr. Julian a few hours ago. She received files from Charlotte, opening to find indiscreet evidence of their affair. Victoria's vision darkened, almost fainting. She drove straight to Marcus. Marcus sleepily opened the door. Seeing her, his drowsiness vanished. He was overjoyed, hugging her and whining like usual. "Victoria, why'd you come back?" Before he could finish, Victoria slapped him. Marcus was in pain, feeling dizzy, turning back to face a furious Victoria. "What's wrong with you?" He was dazed, unsure how she seemed like a completely different person in just a few hours. Victoria grabbed his chin. "Marcus, didn't I tell you to keep our affair from Julian, right?" Her face darkened, a storm brewing. Marcus's expression changed, thinking maybe Julian had. Victoria read the messages to him. But how could Julian know? Seeing Marcus deep in thought, her anger boiled over. She slapped him again without mercy. The boy's fair cheeks swelled instantly, blood seeping from his mouth. Without the strength from Victoria, he stumbled and fell hard onto the ground. Marcus, propping himself up, looked at her with a bit of frustration. Victoria, he couldn't see. How could he discover what had happened? "You still have our child in your belly. Please don't get angry. It's not good for the baby." He bowed down and made a pleading gesture. Victoria looked down at him coldly and let out a mocking laugh. Julian probably could see a long time ago. The next moment, Victoria kicked Marcus hard in the chest. With one kick, Marcus was thrown to the ground, and Victoria's belly suddenly hurt. When she felt a warm sensation below, Victoria's face turned pale. Seeing Victoria's pained expression, Marcus pleaded desperately. "Victoria, it's my fault. I didn't know any better. But please go to the hospital. Save our child, won't you?" Tears mixed with blood flowed down his cheeks, and Marcus kept hitting his head on the floor, but Victoria didn't soften a bit, her face white and gloomy. "I'm only dealing with you for Julian's sake, and I'd only have his kids. Do you think you deserve it? I can't believe you can't see reality and still think you can replace him. From now on, the ballet company will no longer use you, and the unwanted child inside me, I will not keep." Her face was pale, and beads of sweat dripped down from her forehead. Marcus saw this, and his face turned even whiter. "I can stop dancing, but please save our child. It's half your flesh and blood too. Trash like that, something from you doesn't deserve to be called my child." She gasped, holding back nausea, and finally said, "I'll go to the hospital now, and if the kid's gone, great. If it's still there, I'll arrange for an abortion. As for you, since you like spreading your seed, I'll send you someplace more suitable." Charlotte's name flashed on the screen. She slowly crawled to the bathroom and picked up the phone. "Victoria, Julian, his sight, it was restored 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, he could see. 2 weeks ago." Victoria's breathing stopped. Her heart missed a beat. So he'd been able to see all along. He saw the absurdity before her. Saw the resources she gave Marcus, saw the fireworks she set off for Marcus. She slowly relaxed her hand, where the skin and flesh had turned grim and terrifying. Julian knew about her betrayal, yet he hid it so well, not a hint of anger or sadness exposed. How devastated his heart must have been, how disappointed he must have been in her. Victoria had never hated herself as much as she did at this moment, and the overwhelming regret seemed to swallow her whole. She dared not think from Julian's perspective how her actions were like being tortured by a killer. Victoria choked up a bit, her eyes red. Charlotte listened to the sounds on the other side, nervously continuing. "I checked all his records. The police station said he's probably changed his name. There's no trace of Julian anywhere." Hearing this, Victoria could no longer hold herself up and collapsed into a pool of blood. "When I first landed in Paris, the ballet company's lead dancer greeted me warmly. The studio was filled with ballet dancers from around the world, all sharing common dreams and striving together. At first, dealing with the time difference and heartache, I found it hard to adjust, having trouble falling asleep. After taking melatonin to finally get some rest, I'd often dream all night about various moments with Victoria. Waking up in the middle of the night, my face would be wet with tears. Eventually, I stopped trying to sleep, spending nights alone at the dance studio, practicing until I was tired enough to crash on the couch. Thankfully, my fellow dancers were friendly and helpful, assisting me when I struggled with unfamiliar moves, helping me endure a difficult time. I gradually adapted to the intense practice and performance lifestyle, and I felt more energetic than ever. The wounds I once thought unbearable slowly healed with time. I got a new number, and the only person who could reach me was David, who handled my divorce case. 2 weeks after arriving in Paris, David called me. "Nathan, Victoria wants to speak with you personally." "No need." The sun was shining as a gentle breeze ruffled my hair. My mind was preoccupied with dance routines I had just learned. "She can tell me once she's signed the divorce papers, and I'll come back to arrange the proceedings." David felt a bit troubled. "But she insists on seeing you once before agreeing to the divorce." "No problem. We can drag it out." I smiled, unconcerned. "If she doesn't sign the papers, she won't find me. Besides, I'm not afraid to take it to court. We have proof of her cheating." David seemed relieved upon hearing this. "I'll pass your message on to her." He sincerely added, "Nathan, you've changed a lot since our first meeting. You're now confident and carefree, truly living for yourself." "Thanks." I hung up and rubbed my hands, feeling the Paris air grow a little colder. After practice, a girl from the company invited me for dinner. We sat in a restaurant and ordered our favorite dishes. "Nathan, your movements are beautiful. Your technique is precise, yet uniquely yours. Which company did you dance with before?" Sophie said, adding more food to my bowl, her expression cheerful and warm. "I was in Riverside before." Sophie was curious. "Then why the gap in your dancing career? You seem to love ballet a lot." I paused for a moment, then smiled openly. "I survived a fire 2 years ago, but I was blinded. I only recently regained my sight a few months ago." Sophie showed no awkwardness. Instead, she laughed brightly. "Then what do you call that? Where there's a will, there's a way." Her positive attitude was infectious, filling me with warmth. Even though I went through emotional betrayal and deceit, I regained my sight, decisively leaving the lies behind, and could once again do what I loved. Isn't that a form of luck too? Feeling a lump in my throat, I raised my drink to toast with Sophie. "You're right. I feel reborn now." Getting the response from David, Victoria sat hopelessly on the couch. There was no turning back now. She knew Julian was determined to get away from her. She drank one cup after another, ignoring her friend's attempts to stop her. She hoped to numb her aching heart with alcohol. Yet memories of better times would still emerge. Victoria suddenly recalled their wedding day. Julian knelt on one knee, his eyes full of her. Back then, she never imagined she would cheat. She professed her love straightforward and passionate. Betrayal and deceit were things she'd never considered. When did she forget her original intentions? First, she was genuinely touched. She never expected someone to risk their life in a burning building to save her. She felt sorry for Julian, wishing she could trade places and take his blindness. But over time, their mundane life grew dull. She found herself drawn to the fiery Marcus, even getting swept up in it and giving him the best resources. It wasn't until Julian actually left that Victoria had a major realization: she couldn't live without Julian. But now she had truly lost him. Thinking about this, Victoria covered her face in pain, tears squeezing through her fingers. Her brothers exchanged glances, shocked at how things turned out. Julian's stepbrother Marcus was a wreck, and dancing was the least of his concerns. Standing up again was a big question. The Hayes family was pressing to finalize the divorce quickly before things got out of hand, so they could arrange a new marriage. Someone needed to inherit the business. 3 days later, Marcus took to the internet, exposing Victoria's actions. Determined to fight her, he posted all the evidence, admitting to being her lover. Yet all their boundary-crossing interactions were initiated and accepted by Victoria herself. Marcus even shared his hospital records with injury assessments. Victoria, who was once devoted to her husband, had cheated with his stepbrother, using violence and risking lives. The online world exploded with the news, causing the Hayes family stock to plunge. Victoria's father, in a rage, gave her a few lashes with his belt. Her back was raw, yet she remained unyielding. Finally, her bedridden grandfather spoke up. "Victoria, you're terribly wrong. You begged for the chance to marry Julian, yet you didn't treasure it. Now, refusing a divorce is just dragging him down, hurting him again. Sign the divorce papers immediately and handle the company affairs properly. Stop this nonsense." Victoria's straight back finally slumped as she lowered her head. She called David. "Please tell Julian I'm willing to divorce." Once notified, I arranged my schedule, flying back from France. After the divorce was finalized, Victoria and I exited the Civil Affairs Bureau together. In just 6 months, Victoria had changed drastically. Although it was early winter, she wore only a wool coat. I recognized it, it was my wedding gift to her. The once elegant and proud woman was now utterly worn. Her once full face was now gaunt, eyes bloodshot, and even her once firm posture was slouched. Victoria halted me with a low, raspy voice. "Julian, how have you been?" I chuckled silently, waving the divorce papers. "My name's Nathan. Julian doesn't exist anymore." "All right, Nathan." Her expression fell for a moment, then a hint of color returned. "Are you staying in Riverside? Maybe we could still be friends. Could I come see you sometimes?" "I'm not staying here," I answered firmly, my expression neutral. "We won't be seeing each other again." I turned to walk away, but she grabbed my arm. "I know I was wrong, Nathan. I know how terribly wrong I was, betraying our vows, breaking your trust. Even my life was saved thanks to you." Victoria gave a bitter smile, tears glistening in her eyes. "Can you give me another chance? I promise never to deceive you again. I'll take care of you, and we'll have a lovely child. If you're still hurt, we could start over. You could let me chase you again." "Stop dreaming, Victoria." I cut her off, extinguishing her last hope completely, just like she once cruelly did to me. "There's no future for us. I'll gradually forget you and start a new life." The icy wind blew winter's chill, numbing. Watching her frail silhouette fade, Victoria felt a dull ache in her heart. It was her own doing that severed all the love. Once everything settled, I rushed back to Paris to perform in my dance troupe's first show. The piece I danced was La Bayadere, a performance that once slipped from my grasp but captivated my soul. I stretched my arms, rose up on my toes, and danced, losing myself in the music. My movements were fluid and light. As the performance ended, the applause was deafening. I was ushered forward to deliver the curtain call speech. Holding the mic under the stage's dazzling lights, focused just on me, it felt like a dream, being back on the beloved ballet stage. But everything around me was real. This reality brought me to tears. With warmth in my eyes, I flashed a confident, bright smile. I thanked my dance troupe friends, ballet, and myself for daring to start over. I broke free from a binding life, now thriving to show my own brilliance. I forgave all the hardships fate once put in my path. What tasted bitter before now turned sweet. I am Nathan. From now on, I live for myself alone.